For this assignment, you've been asked to uh, graph some data that we got from our mushroom experiments, looking at enzyme activity extracted from this mushroom using a particular substrate that gets converted to a yellow color, and we can measure the OD optical density at 410 nanometers. I'm going to show you how to do this, and I want you ultimately to just do the same thing on your computer so you get comfortable making graphs with this kind of a data set. So here we go. So again, we had two mushrooms. We had the baby bellas on the top and the white buttons down below, mushroom number two. We had several groups do the experiments, seven groups on the below, nine groups on top. And this was a timed experiment. So they each group took a time point during the enzymatic activity, 1 through 8 minutes, in which they measured the amount of color produced, which would be reflective of how much enzymatic activity there was at that particular time, how much product has been produced. And so we ultimately want to graph that information onto this sheet. Now, the information I gave you does not have this information on here. And if I just remove all that, I can just delete that here and here. Again, to take data like this, you want to do something simple, like you want to get the average. You don't want to plot all this information. That's just going to be gibberish. You want to get the average of all the 1 minute time points for the class. So to do so, you simply type the equal sign, and you can see that up in the upper left-hand corner here in that little bar there next to the FX equal, and then you say average. You write the word average, and then you write parentheses, and then you can just go up and select. See what I'm doing? I'm selecting all the data points that have numbers in them, and then I'm going to put a parentheses at the very end. So you can see up here, it says average from B3 colon to C11. That is, oh, there we go. From B3 to B11, that's this data set. And now I could hit enter. And now that is the average of all of these. And you can do this on a calculator if you want, but you should come up with the same number. Now I can figure out the average for all of these just by taking this, clicking on it, getting the little crosshairs, see that little crosshairs, and dragging it across. And when I do that, it has done that, it carried out that same function across all of these. It has determined the mean for each one of these time points. For example, if I look at the six, I'm going to highlight it and go up through, see, and I click on that box, it shows me that it has captured the mean for all these ones in the blue and dropped that mean into this little green box down at the bottom. Okay, so it's done that for each one of these. Now, I can do the same thing with the mushroom number two. I can say is equal to that, and it'll give me that information. And so I can say equal average. Again, I put a little parentheses mark. It says, what do I want to average? I'll just say all this data right here into parentheses. And now it's done that. And again, get my little crosshairs, move it across. And now I have the average for each one of those time points. And then later on, we want to put in standard deviations in this data set. So I'm going to ask the same question over here. I'm going to say, I'm going to click on this little box, go up to my little bar and say equal to standard SD DEV, and it gives me a lot of choices for standard deviation, but I'm going to click on this one that says .s, and you don't have to know why, and now it's going to ask, well, what do I want to ask about this, what points am I going to use for standard deviation? And it's basically all the points that I use for the averages. So I'm going to pick all these, and then in parentheses, and now it has given me the standard deviation from B3, if I click on that upper there, from B3 to B11 boxes, all that information I asked about, I have the standard deviation, and now I can go down below and I can ask it to do the same function all the way across for all those time points. Do the same thing down below, equal to stdev dot s, all the way from the first number to the last number for that time point. And sometimes I may make a mistake, and often that little window will pop up and say, "Did you mean to do this?" And often it is. Often I say, "Yes, I did mean to do that," but um, I think I put in an extra parentheses. I'm going to actually take those extra parentheses out. I didn't mean to have two of them, although it wouldn't really, I don't think that would affect anything. I'm going to do the same thing, and now I can drag it across. And now I have the standard deviation for all of these values uh, for this data set. Now, again, I want to only plot the averages and the standard deviations for these data sets. So I need to take this information, the averages here. I'm just going to copy that, control copy on my Mac anyway. You have a different function probably on, or you can just type them over there. And I'm going to paste them right here, but I don't want to paste, I don't want to just paste as what they are because these are not numbers. These are formulas, right? They are formulas I put in. So you want to actually paste the numbers. So I am going to do a paste function, which is a special paste function that's just going to be values. So I'm just pasting values. As long as these numbers match these numbers, then I've done correct. Everything is as correct. And I can do the same thing for these. I'm going to copy those, and I'm going to paste those right below it. But again, I'm going to paste not the values, I mean, not the formula, but the values. So I have a little prompt. You can't see it, but it does say that. And now I can label this uh, the baby Bella, and I can label this one the white button. And now I can grab these time points over here, and I can put those over here. I don't have to do a paste special because these are just what they are. And now I can graph my data because I have the mean data for both of these data sets. Now I can worry about standard deviation later, but for now I can at least graph this information. So to do so, I just do this, select everything, my time points and my my data. Now notice I don't want to put any numbers, any values in here that are not just numbers. If I put text in there, it'll screw up the graph. I just want the raw numbers. I can only have text on my left-hand column there. Now I'm going to ask the computer the Excel program to graph this. To do so, I'm going to go to Insert. That's my second option from my top menu, Insert. And I want to go over, right, at least in my program, it's kind of in the middle here. I can see different types of graphs I can make, but I want to pick this one right here. And you can choose which kind you want. You can, I want to use a scatter for sure. This is what a scatter looks like, all these dots. But you can choose, do you want that one with just scatter or do you want one with lines or smooth lines? For now, let's pick one that looks like this, kind of smooth lines and markers. And so when I say go on that one, it has given me a nice graph. It hasn't given me axes labels or a chart title, but it's given me what the data looks like. Time on this axis, 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and the optical density on this axis, on the y-axis, which is exactly what I want. So at this point, I can say I'm happy with where I am so far. But again, for this assignment, I also want to put in error bars. I want to see how much slop there is in the data. So to do that, I want to click on one of these dot lines. So I've clicked on the orange line in this case. That represents the white Bella. And I want to capture these the white button standard deviation, which is down here uh, below for the standard deviation below the averages for the white button. So to do so, I'm going to click on that again. Let me click out of that. There. I've clicked on it so all the points are highlighted. And now I can go over here to add chart elements. And one of those that I can choose is error bars. When I go to error bars, it gives you things that you do not want, but I can go to more error bars. And then on the right-hand side, now it gives you a lot of gibberish at this point. On the right-hand side of your chart, you want to make sure it's on this. You have three icons here, icon 1, icon 2, icon 3. Make sure it's on this right icon. Because then I'm going to go to the very bottom of that one, and I'm going to go to custom, and I'm going to go to specify value. Now, I need to tell it what values do I want to use to specify my standard deviation. And those values are going to be, I'm going to click on this little, it looks like a little spreadsheet box here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go over and pick my standard deviation values. I'm just going to select all 5 of them. As long as the number of numbers I have here is equal to the numbers of dots I have in my graph, it will align those properly. So I'm going to say that is correct. I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing for this negative error value. I put in the positive, I want to put in the negative, it's the exact same value. So I'm going to click on my box again, this little uh, spreadsheet box. And I'm going to come over here and grab those exact same data points for standard error, standard deviation, and hit enter. And now it has captured those with a lot of, looks like weird nomenclature, but there it is. And if I hit OK, it has now put in the error bars. Now, one thing I want to be sure of, Excel is strange about this. It often wants to put in Excel error bars that go left and right. Now, you never want those in this type of a graph. So I like to click on those, not the other ones, but just those, and hit delete. And when I do that, it leaves the error bars that I want. And you know your error bars are correct if they look like they match the numbers on your that you have below your white button in down here. So does this one, like this first one, does it look like it's plus or minus 0.15? So 0.15 would be about, we're at 0.2, 0.15 would be approaching 0.4, and it would go down lower. And that looks about right. If I looked at my 8 minutes, it should be 0.3. Is this 0.3? Well, let's see, we're at 0.8, and it goes up about 0.34. Yeah, so that looks reasonable. So these error bars look okay. So let's do the exact same thing with the other one. Let's pick our blue one. That's our baby Bellas. It's highlighted up here. And now let's put in error bars again. Now we can go over here and hit chart elements, but we can go over here to our format errors. No, I'm sorry. We do need to go to chart. Okay. Error bars, more error bars, custom, specify value, same as we did before. And now I'm going to say, which bar, where's my data? Well, my data is right here. Enter. And then my other one, where's my data? It's that exact same place. Enter and say OK. It says it didn't like something I did. I don't know what it was that I didn't like. I think I need to remove that little plus in there. I don't think it liked that. Let's try that again. I'm going to enter this data right here and see if it says it's okay. It says there's a problem. The formula is equal to that. Oh, I see. Your top one needs to look just like your bottom one. I'm going to delete that, and you may come across the same problem. Delete that whole thing, and now let's try again. Let's grab our top ones, say enter, and if it looks just like your top one, you should be okay, and it is. Go in and again, like before, delete your left-right error bars because they're meaningless. Delete. And now we have the chart that we want. with error bars, both error bars for the orange one and error bars for the blue line. Now we just need to put in a title. We can click on title and say, and make a nice title, a descriptive title. I'm not going to do one here, but you can put in a title that describes the graph without too many words. For the axes, you need to put in the axes, of course. How do you do that? Well, add chart elements, axes titles, primary horizontal. And so you can put an axes title in there. Again, you just click on the box and put in your title. And then you do the exact same thing for axes titles vertical. It puts in a little box there, and you can put in a suitable label for that. Now, this case, this will be activity, probably parentheses OD 410. That's the measurement you make. But once you make those nice labels, you will have a nice graph. So basically take that and paste it as a PDF or whatever into into your assignment, and then turn that in. So that's how you make a graph with this type of a data set.